What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I am Alex, and I'm joined by another very special guest. We're kind of having a Scream content creator tour, so I have to make like a label for it or logo. But I'm here with Zoe Crawford, an amazing guy. We've reached out to each other in the past, but this is the first time he's ever been here. So before we get too far, make sure you guys are subscribed to him. I'm going to leave his channel in the description along with his Twitter. So if you guys want to follow him any of his places, you'll be able to do that. But Zoe, thank you so much, buddy, for being here.
Yeah, of course, Alex. I've been honestly a fan of your channel for about 2 or 3 years now, so it's been a while. So glad we can actually, do a stream together, do a video. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I'm ancient. But I'm glad to have you. And so, well, why don't you tell us a little bit about that? So we'll kind of break this into a couple different parts,
Right.
kind of your, your journey and what you do, maybe in your relationship with Scream, right? Because that's what we'll cover mainly here, and then we'll go
Definitely.
into some of the Scream 6 talk that's been going on around the internet.
Yeah, there's a lot of it, so we can get
Yeah,
pretty deep. So with me and my channel, I wanted to just create a vessel to where I can just talk movies. My channel didn't really start out as a horror channel. I've always loved horror movies for sure, but it mainly it was the channel of me just talking about random movies, a lot of different genres, superhero movies, and then I kind of found my groove talking about Scream and Halloween. I've
yeah,
always been a big fan of Scream. Scream has been a important part of my life. It's just one of those movies where it leaves an impact on you when you get done watching it. And I love just talking about all the different possibilities of who the killers are and all
yeah.
the theory videos. And I really kind of found my groove making Scream content. And I think the Scream community on YouTube is amazing. Everyone's welcomed me with open arms, like Killjoy Jake, Craven
Yeah.
Something Scary, all those guys, Critical Overlord. They all just, it's like a really nice community we have.
Yeah.
And I really do, I feel welcomed here.
Yeah, no,
Definitely.
it's quite a contrast in my opinion to the Twitter. Not that everybody on Twitter is bad. I like pain, so I go on Twitter too much and all that stuff. But no, the YouTube community is great, and everybody feels very even.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not a competition. Obviously, YouTube, there's views and there's subscribers. Like
Right.
that is a real thing. Like we can't, beat around the bush and pretend it's not. But
Mhm.
everybody's on a very open playing field on YouTube, and I feel like everybody's very supportive, whether you're smaller, medium sized, bigger. I mean, everybody's literally at different numbers, but we all have quite the respect for each other. So, and it's
Yeah.
something you
It's
don't
not a
see.
competition. It's just like
No,
we all get together and we all just like to, shoot the crap about movies, you know?
yeah,
It's what it's all about.
yeah. And you get some different opinions on a lot of the Scream, whether Scream 5 leading into it or afterwards. Obviously, everybody kind of had a different opinion on 5. Well, let me ask you.
Mhm.
Let's start there. And we'll go
Yeah.
into 6. So, what is your like rapid fire, like 30-second thoughts? What do you think of 5?
I liked 5, but when I rewatch 5 more and more, I dislike it a little bit.
Yeah.
I think I rated it when I watched it a little bit early. I got a early screener to it, which was awesome. And I saw it about a couple days early, and I think I had a little bit of recency bias with it. I
Oh yeah.
still think it's
I
a
think a lot of people did. I think a lot.
Yeah, I still think it's a great movie. I just think it's too much of Radio Silence trying to pay an homage to Wes Craven. I wanted them to do a Radio Silence movie and not a necessarily a love letter to Wes Craven. I wanted
Yeah.
them to do their own unique thing.
Yeah. And I've said I don't think it's unfair at all. I think 5 walking out, and this happens for a lot of movies. You walk out, you feel really good, and
Right.
5 I don't think has aged all that well. I think 5 continue like the longer not that it's awful or it's
No, it's
bad.
not awful
It's
at
it's
all.
just not
Mhm.
as strong as, that first day. And
I
a
agree.
lot of a very special kind of movie can keep that, right, for a long time. Yeah, I'm with you. I overall really liked it, but I was shaking, in the theaters, and when it was starting, I was like, I can't because I've never seen, I'm 25, but I watched the anniversary when 1 came back in
Right.
October. I went for that, but that's the only one. I didn't see 4 when it came out, so this
Mhm.
was like the first. I was like, I can't believe I'm here, like seeing it, and that is a bias. I mean, that is gonna cloud it, right? Because it's like I can't believe this is
The
actually
hype
happening.
behind it was really intense,
Oh
especially
yeah,
because Scream 4 came out when social media was kind of just starting to really get its footing, but
yeah,
now in 2022, it's just like we're at like the full force of YouTube and the full force of content creators. This is just a different time to
oh
be
yeah,
a horror fan. So it's definitely a
yeah.
lot more intense now. You hear a lot of different voices and opinions that you didn't hear 10 years ago.
Oh, I agree with that. Yeah. Well, I want to start, and this will probably be the title of the video. This is just we're gonna go through a couple different topics, but I wanted to
Right.
start here because of Emma Roberts. And now I made a
Mm,
video a day or two ago, and I talked about Emma Roberts, her comments of that she doesn't think, she doesn't think she was done, or she didn't think at the time she was done with Scream. So I made a video, we talked about it, but in that video, I was starting to think, and even people's comments. So I want to pitch this to you. What would you say? Whether you could say it's stupid, what would you say to an idea of Kirby with like a Jill syndrome, much like Sam had with Billy? Could you imagine? Because when I hear Emma say that, I say, 10% chance, 15%, 5%. Like, I don't think that was like a wink, wink, like, oh, I'm in Scream 6. But
mhm.
it was an interesting answer. I think it was a like way different kind of answer than I think anybody thought she would do. So you think they could do that with Kirby, being kind of like a mentor, like maybe she can relate to Sam? Do you think Jill would ever return, and what do you think they could ever do if that happened?
Ah, man, Jill returning. I always thought her death was definitely very final. I
Oh
think a
yeah.
defibrillator to the head is, I don't know if you can come back from that. I mean, people say the same thing with Stu, so that's
Yeah.
a whole nother rabbit hole.
I'm
But
actually more for Jill returning than Stu. I'll be dead honest. Because Jill was shot in the chest pretty on purpose, that she
right.
wasn't shot in the head. So I feel like the odds are there more for her than Stu would. But I don't think. I think if you were to bring her back, I
Mhm.
would maybe like to see a Kirby. But we don't really know. Like, would Kirby be haunted by Jill? Is that something that could actually happen?
Kind of
I
the
don't know.
Force Ghost Billy thing with
Yeah,
Sam, kind of the
yeah.
seeing visions of him
Yeah,
or
would you do
of
that
Jill.
twice in a row? Like, it is
I don't.
definitely, it's something that if you do it wrong, I think it would be like it would come across really bad. But I mean, what are you gonna do with Kirby? What kind of her mentorship role is she gonna have over these characters? And then the Jill thing, that's kind of like a separate thing, right? What would Kirby? And we can ask you that. What do you think Kirby's gonna do to them? And then just the statement that she made. It's just really weird to me that she said it like that. I don't know.
Well, we kind of know that they wanted to go a different direction after 4. They wanted to kind of branch out with those new characters.
Yeah.
I'm assuming they wanted to kind of go with Kirby and Jill and kind of take them into
Yeah.
college and move on with those characters. Those were supposedly the original plans for a
Yeah.
Scream 5 or 6. So that could have been very interesting if maybe Wes Craven didn't pass away, we probably would have went that way, which would have
Yeah.
been, I think, pretty cool. I'm not the hugest fan of Emma Roberts as Jill. I don't necessarily love her performance. I really
Yeah.
like her at the ending of Scream 4. I think
Yeah.
she's just crazy and bombastic. But I don't know what it is about Emma Roberts in that role. If it's her line delivery, it's just
Yeah.
maybe I'm just in a boat on my own. I don't really see a lot of people have the same opinion
Yeah.
as me for Scream 4.
Yeah, I've always kind of been back and forth. I don't think maybe initially I was on board. I would say overall I'm more okay with it. I think she's been
Mhm.
better in other things, but the bat, the craziness that she is towards the end of 4. I mean, that's good. And really that's the same thing I would honestly argue for Amber. Amber really did
Right.
awesome at the end of 5. Now, her issue was she wasn't in the rest of it. It wasn't even so much. I mean, she was kind of lackluster, very like just one face kind of emotion thing.
Hmm.
But at least Jill, got a lot more to do in Scream 4. So
Definitely.
what do you think Kirby? So without Jill, without maybe that even idea that she would come back, what do you think Kirby? Because there's the rumors of like her being a teacher. There's a
Yes.
lot of rumors, by the way, and a lot of them already have been found to be fake. But what do you think about, could that be something that they could do?
So we're assuming that all kind of indications point to Scream 6 being at a college setting. That's what a
Yeah,
lot of people are saying. Very much the same realm as Scream 2.
yeah,
We could get Kirby as a mentor, as or a teacher or a counselor. I think that would be an organic way of bringing her into Scream 6 without it feeling forced,
yeah,
without it feeling just like how Nev Campbell was with Scream 5. So
yeah.
I think she could be a teacher or a mentor, and then they go to college in the same school as her. I think that'd be the most organic way to bring her into this movie.
Yeah. Where do you stand on the killing her? Not could you let her go in
I
6?
just I think if they do bring her back, I think they would kill her.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't you know
in
I
this one
Yeah,
or
I
yeah,
do. I do think they would kill her in 6. I don't. It's very tricky.
yeah,
It is very tricky because they obviously killed Dewey, so which I honestly thought was pretty ballsy. I
yeah.
like that. I did. I thought it was really gutsy. I think to a certain extent with these movies, it's like, okay, how long can these characters keep
True.
outlasting Ghostface, and then it gets kind of old after a while. So I did like what they did with Scream 5, but with Kirby, I I feel like it might piss some people off if they do kill her in 6, but I think the radio silence has shown that they can take it there, that they
Yeah.
have the guts to do that. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did kill her off.
Yeah, it would be for man, for me it'd be tough. I think definitely not early, right? So like if she dies
Right.
like third act
Final
kind of thing.
finale. Mhm.
Yeah. And I guess it would just kind of totally depend on how who's left, who's alive. Like have they touched any of the four, like Chad, Mindy, Sam, Tara? Because if
Right.
they haven't touched them and they bring Kirby in to kill her, I don't really think I'd be okay. I think if you killed one of Chad or Mindy, or if you went nuts and you killed like Sam, if you did one of them and Kirby, I think I'd be okay. If you bring in Kirby just to kill her and you still don't touch those four, and they're not all that developed throughout six,
Right.
much like most of them weren't developed in five, then I'd start to have some pretty big, issues with it.
Yeah, I'm very torn because I do like Kirby. I think Kirby's awesome. I think
Yeah.
Kirby and Mindy definitely share the same type of vibe. I want to see just a scene with those two going
Oh
at
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And I think maybe one of the Meeks twins is gone. It would maybe be Chad, but then they could do Mindy just to kind of
Right.
throw us off. I want something. I think with Scream 6, I do like. Obviously Nev Campbell is now returning to Scream 6, so this kind of forces them to adapt and do something different, which is
Yeah.
something I've been wanting for a while. I know some people are very scared of her not coming back, and they don't think it's a Scream movie without, Nev Campbell.
Yeah.
But I like the change. I think even though it might be scary and it's something different that people aren't used to, it's something new, and that's
Yeah.
we haven't been able to say that about the Scream franchise in a while.
Right. The thing, and I've been saying it, the thing that gets me with I'm not disagreeing with you. I actually think, like,
Mhm.
weirdly enough, this happening has forced them to, like, whether they were going to already
To
or whether now
adapt.
they had to do it, it's forced them to do something different. I think that
Mhm.
could ultimately be for the best of the movie and the franchise going forward. The issue is how it ended with Nev. Right? Like
Exactly. It
that's
wasn't a swan song. It wasn't a
yes,
happy ending. It was
yes,
about money, about pay. So
right,
being what you think you're worth. And I
yeah,
respect her for really standing up for herself. It's like going to it's like working at McDonald's and everyone else is making $15 an hour and you're making 10. It's like
yeah.
you're not going to work there.
Yeah, and you like had McDonald's merchandise your whole life that you were like going out to. Yeah, I mean it sucks. And again, even following that logic, like, look, I've never really been opposed to Nev. Well, I've always wanted Sydney in the movies, even if she's in it for like 5 minutes. But if she is only in for 5 minutes or a cameo, I would check that box. I'd say Nev Campbell, check. That's you don't have to have her in it for 30 or whatever.
Yeah.
But the one thing I will say, because I've seen the discourse online of people saying, well, they ended her story so great in five. Well, the issue I have with that logic is, well, they wrote her in six. You know what I mean? So like, but again, like it's not taking away from any of the other points. Inadvertently, this has now pushed them, and this could be for the best. It's just for those that are saying, well, Nev, it was such a swan song in terms of the character. Well, at least they ended Sydney great. I guess, but they wrote her into the script for six, wanted her, couldn't pay her, and then they had to take her out. So that wasn't supposed to be the last time that logic.
Right.
Oh, that was the
Mhm.
last time we saw her. We're all good, but that wasn't the last time we were supposed to see her. And again, that's something they'll. Is she in seven? Is this done forever? Does six actually suffer? We don't know. Six may not suffer whatsoever from it. It depends. I don't know how do people feel. What did they add to five? I think they added an okay. I don't think they made five, but I don't think they definitely didn't hurt five. The OGs. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? What what,
Mhm.
what do you think? Like what is like a Nev Campbell influence on five and six? Like what can she do? Or maybe do you not think like does she not do much for it?
Well, if they did plan on having her in 6, obviously her role wasn't huge because it didn't really impact the shooting at all. It wasn't like
Yeah.
they had to like delay the movie like a month. They
Yeah.
only I think they did delay it a couple days,
Yeah,
so they
3
might have to.
days. Yeah.
Yeah, which she probably didn't have a huge role to begin with. So I think that definitely was something that was beneficial because if,
Yeah.
if she if she was a huge part of 6, that would have been insane. And I'm very curious as to when she told the studio she was leaving, or I'm sure it had to be early on in
Oh,
the
yeah,
production,
I'm sure
right?
this was probably 2 plus months ago. Yeah, I
At
mean, it
least.
wasn't as, rapid fire as maybe people wanna and because
Right.
people are picking sides and it's, everybody has the right to their opinion and stuff. But yeah, I mean, this wasn't something she decided, She told Master Chaos that Sunday.
Yeah.
She didn't tell Paramount the day before on the Saturday. You know, I mean, this
No.
was months. But you know what? What was she in a couple scenes? Was she an okay amount? Was she a cameo? What was the? I mean, we don't know. And I have a feeling she may eventually say it, like years down the line. She could drop it. Who cares? I mean, if you're her, what's the deal with saying it? But this is something where I think we'd find out a long way away. But so do you think? What do you think? Like in a six, say she was in it for like a 5 minutes. You think not having her? You think it doesn't matter that?
I don't think it necessarily matters. I always thought they were kind of going towards that direction anyway, and it's just
Yeah.
kind of ripping the band-aid off, even though it wasn't
Yeah.
done in like the most cleanest way possible.
Right.
The ending of five definitely felt conclusive. It wasn't
Yeah.
the best ending for her, but it felt like, okay, is she gonna come back again? Because what
Right.
would drive her to come back in six? Dewey's already dead. You kill
Yeah.
Courtney off, but then it just feels like it's the same thing as five.
Yeah.
So it's like, what? Why would she come back again? She has a
Right.
family. She's married to Mark Kincaid, which is a pretty cool Easter egg and all that.
Yeah.
So what's the drive for her to come back and put this type of torture and pain back into her life again?
Right. Now, well, so let me ask you that. You mentioned Courtney or Gale. So
Mhm.
one thing I have said is so now again, inadvertently, what you maybe have done from a story perspective is almost like the cat out of the bag. Can Gale now not die? Because if Gale dies, but Dewey died and Sydney came back. So Gale dies, Sydney doesn't come. You know, so inadvertently, they didn't write that. They didn't have any plans for that. But now that Nev would not come back, you can never do that. Doesn't that look bad in a story for like a Sydney character in the future, or even just her character legacy? Right? If five is the last time you never see Sydney again, which I kind of doubt, but you never see her again. Knowing, oh, she returned when Dewey came back, but she doesn't care if Gale died. She's not going to
Yeah.
come in. So do you think that almost makes Gale 100% safe?
I think so. I just yeah, that's a great point there
It's
because
tough. Like it's something I didn't think about until I started
mm,
talking, and I was like, that kind of makes Gale invincible because you
right,
can't. You'll
you kind of
ruin
know that
Sydney's
she's safe.
character.
Yeah,
Yeah, you'll ruin Sydney's character if you kill Gale. It's like, well, why the heck? Sydney cares more about Dewey. She's not going to come back because wouldn't you also again feel like you're in danger if they kill Dewey? Now they kill Gale. Don't you think you're so inadvertently from like a real life person, the actress, you kind of just screwed them where you can't do anything to Gale now, which is fine. I don't actually ever want it. I don't want them to kill Gale, but now it's almost like they can't.
right. What do you think Gail's role will be in six? Do you think it's
That
going to
was
be
gonna be
a
my next
major?
question to
Oh,
you. So did you
yeah.
see so it's not even rumors, she's not there right now. And
Hmm.
the rumor is she's even gonna get married, like in real life in Ireland in maybe a few weeks. That's the rumor
Uh,
going around. So she may very well only be there for a couple of weeks. So I'll answer and I'll give it back to you. I really don't think it's gonna be all that much, which is weird because I mean, again, like there's been so many rumors and they've been pretty solid, like they sound good. The rumors have sounded good, but a lot of them have turned out already to not be real. You know, the staggered approach where all six of them are on set now, and then the new people come in July. That is not true because she's not there. Courtney's not. Hayden Panettiere hasn't been spotted, so it's like that's just BS. That was not a real thing. But how much is Gale gonna be in it? I feel like she's probably gonna be in it similar to five, which means she won't be a central, which is
right.
fine.
So
But
like
it's just
10,
for the
15 minutes of screen time.
15, 20 minutes and which
Hmm.
is okay because that's what and I think she can kill it in that time. I think it'll be great. But for the people that think it's going to be like a Gale centric movie, it does not seem like that's possible. So what do you think?
I believe she'll be in the movie for, like you said, maybe 15, 20 minutes or so. But I think those 15, 20 minutes will be integral.
Yeah,
I want Scream 6 to be, because at the end of Scream 5, she isn't writing a story about these new killers. She
yeah,
wants them to die and not be recognized and
yeah.
have more Ghostface killers come back. But what I'm thinking is that whoever the new Ghostface killers are in 6, maybe try to twist her hand and make her write more stories about the Ghostface killings and try to make Ghostface more popular again. I
Oh,
guess
okay. Yeah,
that's what I'm kind of thinking. Maybe the opening scene is them attacking Gale to maybe blackmail her in order to write another book or make a
yeah,
documentary or something along those lines. Because I think that would be a good way to bring Courtney back into this.
yeah. Well, do you like the idea? I've seen this pitched in comments and stuff of like a morning show call as the opening. Ghostface calls her live
Yeah,
on air. I
yeah, I've
love
heard that
that
too.
idea. Yeah,
Yeah, that something like that. I think that'd be awesome. Like just
yeah.
that being the opening scene, not necessarily opening kill, but just something
Just as
intense like
yeah.
that.
Yeah, because the opening scenes are very iconic, and I think if you were to watch, if they did that and you were to watch it after, you'd be like, man, this is very different than any of the past ones. But look, also what we have just said, like we kind of want six to be different.
Right.
People would say, where's the opening kill? Even five, where was the opening kill? There wasn't. That's okay. Five was as close to one as you can do, while also trying to be your own thing. I thought they actually really nailed out of anything in five. I think the opening was probably the best thing they replicated slash did their own stuff. I think they did
Yeah.
great. I'd be so down for that for six because it's different, but it's not like it's a nobody. Like it's Courtney Cox. So you immediately get a face that you know from the franchise.
Hmm.
Everybody knows her. So, I mean, it kind of checks. You get a Ghostface call, so you hear the voice. Somebody else could die. A crew member could be murdered live on, or they're killing somebody on their end, and she can
Yes.
only listen to. I mean, yeah, it's very different than the rest, but that's okay. And that's probably a signal for what the movie would then be. Like, I'd almost look at that, if that's the real opening, as like, oh man, we're in for a while. Like, who knows what's going to happen, you know?
Right. I want it to be where the Ghostface killer wants the Ghostface killings to be global and to
Oh,
be
okay.
huge. Because for what we know, the Ghostface killers are mainly condensed in Woodsboro and also Windsor College. So maybe they're more small scale, and maybe this killer wants it to be like a
Oh
huge
man.
case, like Jeffrey Dahmer, just like a huge global killing, like one of the best serial killers of all time, just a very infamous killer.
Yeah.
That's what I think the motives are for this Ghostface, and maybe he attacks Gale because he knows that she's a huge anchor in New York or a huge journalist in New York, and she has
Yeah.
that clout to kind of really make this story huge. And maybe, like you said, she the Ghostface killer kills someone on live TV or has an opening call at the news station. That'd be awesome.
Oh my god! I mean, that I love that yeah, because Jake and I were just talking, and I've seen other people make videos of because it's tough. You think of popularity, so
Mhm.
popularity was done with Jill, right?
Right.
And at the same time, you quickly run out of reasons why people want to kill each other. In these movies, like there's fame,
Hmm.
popularity, fame, same thing. There's revenge. You quickly run out. But the idea that you just said, I mean that is popularity, but it's very different than like a Jill, like you said, like taking it on a global thing. And why wouldn't you pick because it's supposed to be in New York, right? So
Hmm.
huge
New York is
city
the
with
one of the huge entertainment and
yeah, it
news
would make
capitals of the
big
world.
news. You can fictionally, Gale can be like the leading anchor in New York City. She can be the Today host of that version.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah, I actually really like. So you think
Yeah.
that's what it'll be, the
That's
motive?
that's what I think it would be. I think it makes sense.
Yeah,
It's a good way to bring, Gale back in there without it feeling forced, and it just gives Ghostface if it's in New York, you got to do it big.
yeah,
You got to make it huge. Like we're not in Woodsboro anymore. We're not in the small town of Woodsboro. We're not in Windsor College. We were in LA in Scream 3, but even then that felt small scale
oh
as
yeah,
well.
yeah,
So I think if you're in New York, man, just go all out. Like make Ghostface flashy, make him kill. Maybe he kills more people out in the open. Maybe he does just things that are different
yeah.
compared to the first one where it's Ghostface in the middle of an orchard. It's Ghostface, in condensed small houses. Maybe he's doing something different. He's putting bodies up on display, in New York or something. Just something different, man.
Yeah, and so how many do you think there? Do you think it would be a tandem, or do you think it's one just working on
I
their
would
own?
like to see it one again. I think
Yeah,
if you're gonna do that, maybe it's one selfish person trying to get all the fame and glory or whatever, and be
yeah,
like I said, a Jeffrey Dahmer or something, just like a really infamous serial killer, something along those lines, and they want a Netflix documentary made about him. Just to
yeah,
translate it to whatever is popular in today's society.
yeah. It's. I mean, and with one killer, you run a risk, right? Because I mean, if you figure it out,
Yes,
it's over. Whereas because like even in five, for as much as the trailer gave us everything we needed to know, who it
unfortunately.
was, even in the movie, I was hoping, please don't make it be Richie and Amber. Maybe one of them, but not the other. So if you have two, at least maybe there is that fifth where if you get one, you maybe don't know who the other one is. If you have one and you get them, but that's up for the trailer to ruin, not for which I'm honestly very terrified because I think the trailer will spoil it, same as five. I believe it.
Yes, I actually made a video talking about the Halloween Ends trailer yesterday, and my main concern was that, especially Universal, unfortunately, has a problem of showing a condensed version of the whole movie.
Oh yeah,
You can watch the trailer and figure out the whole movie and figure out plot points, who's gonna die, where the story's kind of headed. I miss the era of kind of 90-second teaser trailers,
Yeah.
or when you had to go into the theater back in the day to watch a trailer and you couldn't rewind it 100 times on YouTube and watch trailer breakdowns.
Yeah. No,
It's just
I agree. I mean, some of my favorite trailers
mm,
were from like the mid 2000s when they really didn't go all that. Like Pirates 3 is my favorite trailer ever. That did I mean it showed like Davy Jones and Jack fighting. I was like, "Thank you. They
yeah,
listened."
it
I
just shows
need
you a little bit and gives you the
Yeah.
vibe and shows you the music and the characters, and that's
And,
it.
but it's hard for Scream because literally the whole point of it is who's doing the killings. Like that's the so if you show any, and I think there were easily ways of doing Five's trailer without doing it. I mean, I really don't know what happened there. If they got a little trigger happy, but
Yeah.
and they were well, like the Amber thing was so blatant. The Richie thing, they like maybe slipped, like they were on their mouse and they slipped and they dragged the picture
Yeah, you
down.
can see the top
You
of
can
his
see
head.
Richie's head.
Yeah.
They're like, we really didn't want that, but somebody sneezed and our mouse moved. Like I don't know what happened there, but the Amber one, they just could care less about showing her on fire.
Right.
I don't know. So, well, speaking of giving things away, I haven't actually asked almost anybody this. What do you think? Because I think I've talked about like what could be shown first, what could leak first about the set. So we know it's New York because that
Mhm.
actually was the first thing that factually leaked about it, all the license plates and stuff. How long until you think like we see the? Do you think somebody slips and we see the title from set? Because we saw the logo for Scream, on the back of one of their chairs, do you think like the title leaks, or do you think we see maybe something with like one of their outfits gives something away? Like, what do you think is the first? Not that we're looking for it, although we kind of are. But what do you think is like the first thing that could potentially be leaked like that?
Man, and to define leaked with the Scream community, they go out and search. So it's like not even a leak. It's people doing,
Yeah, it's just
Sherlock
comment. It's like
Holmes
somebody went on set and just
investigations.
started talking, and then they just said it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think they'll be a little bit more conservative with what they kind of drop
Yeah.
with this one, because I think they kind of are now exposed to the Scream community, because I'm sure Radio Silence,
Well,
they have an
that's what
ear
I
to all this.
thought because
Mm,
like so I had said I don't think you can keep it. I think even though 5 was not very well done keeping it entirely secret, I
mhm.
think 5 was probably like the best you can do, and then everything else is worse because you're just going to maybe get lazier or people are going to be more willing to find it. And I thought that, and then it does look like they are being a little bit more hidden with stuff. But yet again, there's people that literally are saying like they went on set and like Melissa said hi to them. So it's like people are just generally walking around. I mean, something's gonna show. I think I'm not doubting you. It's just it's
Mhm.
funny that like they are coming across like they're hiding stuff, but Melissa Barrera's just out, greeting people. It's weird.
Yeah, Montreal, Canada is a very nice place, so
Yeah.
people are probably just, waving everywhere, walking up the set. So,
Yeah. And I mean, we've seen them two together. We saw, Tara and
yeah,
Sam walking at maybe out of like a party like thing. But I don't know. I feel like it's only a matter of time till we get I think it was a bad move to not say the title when they announced it. Just because you announced it very early after, 5 ended. You're going into filming. I get it. I get it doing it after, but I just feel like we're gonna see it or somebody's gonna figure it out. Just say the title back in May.
I think the reason why they're keeping it kind of hush hush is because this is gonna probably be the first Scream movie without a number.
Oh, okay.
It might be, whatever subtext they're gonna do, and I think maybe they're making it be this grand thing, this grand
Yeah,
reveal. I don't know if it's gonna spoil anything for the movie. I doubt it,
true.
but I think it's a big thing. We're assuming it's not gonna be Scream 6. It's gonna be
Oh, yeah.
Scream whatever. Scream Jason takes Manhattan. Or
Yep.
Ghostface takes Manhattan.
Yeah, I mean,
So
like, I don't like the idea of Scream well, I don't like the idea of Scream 2. I honestly will say I
I
feel
hate
like it's
that.
the most likely thing they do. Now, you just said you think it's a subtitle. I think 2 is Scream 2 is the most likely. It's the
Really,
safest. It's not the s it's the safest slash, I guess, smartest. It's not the best one, I
it gets
think, or
confusing though,
it's
because
very confusing. It almost not that I think they mean it because I don't. It's almost a slight now on Wes Craven because it's almost you're literally stealing his films. You're erasing, and you're not actually doing it, but you say, okay, Scream 5 is Scream. Okay, well now to a casual person, does that erase Scream 96? Maybe. Scream 2. Well, didn't we have a Scream 2? Well, yeah, but now this is Scream. You know what I mean? Now this
yeah.
is Scream 2. Now that doesn't happen for like millions of people, but some people get that message. So I think that's the risk you run with the number two,
I'm
where like
just
if you do
assuming, yeah.
a
Well,
subtitle, you wouldn't have it.
I'm just assuming that because they're making fun of reboots and
Yes.
requels,
Yeah.
so I'm kind of going more the Halloween route because they did
Yeah.
Halloween 2018 and then
True.
Halloween Kills, so it might
Yeah.
be Scream, subtitle whatever.
Yep.
That's just
You
what I'm
think they
kind of
do
going
like
off.
Scream again? Scream. I always the Scream Forever one has always I've always liked it. I don't like it as the middle one. I think Scream Forever should be the third if they do it. But
Yes, the
Scream
conclusion.
again, I wouldn't hate that. I don't think I'd hate that.
I don't know. I think there's a lot of people throwing around different titles, and
Oh yeah.
none of them stick, man. I've always just liked the numbers.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I just maybe I have to let it sit with me for a while. But I that's the one thing I am very curious about is the title.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think like Pirates is my favorite movie franchise ever, and Pirates actually pirate everybody calls it Pirates 5, Pirates 4, but it's
Hmm.
actually not. It's Pirates of the Caribbean subtitle, and the subtitle is always very reflective at World's End on Stranger Tides. It's always very reflective of what the movie is.
Hmm.
Yeah, I like subtitles. I think with Scream though, yeah, I don't know. Because
It's
Scream has always
strange.
been more succinct than really any other horror like, people compare it to Hollow, or you can even compare, like Sydney to Laurie and all that stuff. It's like, well, like Scream has never, I guess,
It's one
four kind of,
continuity. It's
yeah. So
one.
like
Yeah.
Scream has never had that era of just garbage where you've had to
No.
reboot it like 50 times. Like you did have to reboot it. You did with technically four, but not really. And then five, you did because of four. But four wasn't garbage. It just didn't
No.
land. It just didn't make enough for them at the time. So Scream has always had this really nice, yeah, continuity where you could just do numbers. This could be Scream 6 and you don't get that mindset where people say, "Oh, they're on Scream 22," like because they've made so many. You don't really get that with Scream because they've all been pretty good.
Yes, as a Halloween fan, there is some high peaks and some low valleys.
Yeah.
So just that's kind of what a lot of horror franchises go through, even Friday the 13th. But Scream and I think Child's Play have always been pretty consistent in their
Yeah.
movies. There hasn't been any really drastic reboots. I mean, we did get a remake of Child's Play back in 2019, but Scream for sure has been extremely consistent.
Yeah.
It's always been very good, and we followed these kind of main core characters throughout going on 6 movies now. And I think just I heard a title going around. I think it was on Twitter. It was I don't know how I feel about it, but it was called like Scream: The Manhattan Murders, which could be kind of cool. It feels a little bit long, but
Yeah.
maybe something along like those
Yeah.
lines. I feel like it's like a mouthful to say.
Yeah, and unless and if that's like Gale's book or some sort
Yeah.
of Gale segment thing, and so it links to that. I mean, that could be. Yeah, it depends. If it's a subtitle, to me, it'll depend on how much that reflects It would have. Well, if you do a subtitle, it has to be pretty special to the thing. That's why. But Halloween, we won't get into how I feel about the trilogy they're in. But Halloween Kills ends. Halloween Kills, like that's he does kill a lot in that movie, but that's not reflective of like a theme or something.
No.
So, but I think Scream would do it better than that. Not no offense to
We'll
Halloween.
see, man. Like I don't know. I'm very nervous because like obviously they're probably not going to be Scream 6. So we'll
True.
see. There's a lot of options. I know a lot of people are floating around different titles. So
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what direction they go for sure.
So let's end it on just kind of general thoughts. So
Right.
where in your mind, where are you like a good bad kind of rating for how you feel, they're going to do because for the Nev stuff, and I've always tried to stay pretty consistent. I still feel 6 can very easily be better than 5. I mean, this movie could very well be much better and be one of the better movies. It just is going to have that Nev Campbell thing kind of hanging over it, and that's been a topic. But I really think 6, even though we know nothing about it right now, it could be pretty good. But I guess you could have said that about 5. So where do what do you think? How do you think 6 can go?
I'm more excited for 6 than I was for 5. And I'm
Okay.
excited for them for different reasons. For 5, I was excited because we didn't have a Scream movie for 10 years.
Yeah.
So just the anxiety of like, we're actually getting a Scream movie, which is awesome. We're in a slasher renaissance at the moment with all these iconic slasher
Yeah.
villains coming back. But with Scream 6, I'm more excited because unfortunately, Nev isn't coming back, but this forces him to do something different. That's why I'm excited. That's something
Right.
I've been talking about for a while. And I've gotten some kind of mixed feelings about that from people saying that, they want Nev. And I get that, but now we can move on from Nev, even though it
Yeah.
wasn't the best way we moved on from her. It forces them to adapt, and that's why I'm excited for Scream 6. I'm very optimistic. I know a lot of people aren't, and some people didn't really like Scream 5, so they're not really going into Scream 6 with high expectations. But I think people should give this movie a chance. I really do. I think there's a lot of negativity surrounding this movie
Yeah.
so far in the very early stages of production. But Scream 6, dude, I'm hopeful. I'm way more excited for 6 than 5.
Yeah, in a weird way, I kind of agree. I think 6 has like more of my attention. That's would be the
Right.
word. It's got more of my attention than 5 did. Yeah, for the Nev thing, I've always been pretty strong on. If I believe there are people that won't watch it because,
I
and
think
I
so too.
that's totally valid. I do believe. I mean, Scream really is in a lot of ways Sydney and Ghostface. They really are.
Yeah.
And I love Tara. I think Tara can really become an incredible, incredible character if they continue her. I mean, she was so great in 5, so just keep doing that. Sam has a lot of work, I think, but she has potential. To be honest,
Yeah, she does.
yeah,
I
she
think
does.
they're both very capable actors. I think with Sam's, I thought people have definitely some criticisms about Sam's character in 5, but for me, I thought she played into that type of a character dealing with mental health issues, taking antidepressants and tranquilizer type medicines like
Yeah,
Xanax or medication like that, and that's how you would kind of act on medication like that. I think that, and it establishes that in the first shot of that movie, she's medicated. So
yeah.
I thought she played to that character a little bit better than people give her credit for,
That's
unfortunately.
that's fair. Yeah, I will. I've been hard on her in terms of the first half, but I think she gets a lot better
Better.
just as the movie goes on. I mean, the ending is awesome with her. I think there's a lot of potential with Sam. Tara is already like golden for me. Like, she doesn't really have to prove anything. But yeah, I mean, 6 has a lot, and I think the idea with 6 too is, as you and I have just said, like the things you can do in 6.
Yes,
You're not
it's the
limited.
gamble. It might be really awesome and
Oh yeah.
different, or it might be shit. It's
This
like
is the movie. I hope they don't actually do The Last Jedi, but this is, the last where
right.
7, Force Awakens played it very close to 4, and
Mhm.
then 8 took it. And now these are the same people, right? Whereas Star Wars, it was Ryan versus JJ. So for
Yes.
this, it's like, all right, well, you copied Wes and you did fine, and you got people back, and some people were turned off, some people weren't. Go I've said it before in different live streams, like just no matter how it is, let me see it. If it sucks, I mean, I'm not going to be afraid to say it, but
Mhm.
I will respect that you went for it. Go
Yes.
for it. Yeah, make some risks, take some chances. Don't you dare disrespect Scream. You still have to have kind of, and it's tough. Like, what makes a Scream movie a Scream movie? I think there's generally, some ideas, but how you stretch that is kind of up to, like, I can't really imagine what they would do too much that would make me mad. That would say you guys
Right.
like really disrespected what Scream is.
Maybe if they kill all the OG
If
characters
they
and just kind
killed
of
Gale and Kirby, or
uh,
maybe even just Gale, I've said if they make Gale like a drunken loser, or Kirby, like a Luke Skywalker, if
right.
they make them hate, like,
Yes.
if they did that, I would actually think they're copying, stuff like literally just
Well, they definitely pay a lot of
Dewey
homage
did
to
that in
yeah.
5, which is actually kind of scary. But I don't think they would do it again. But yeah, that's really the things to me that unless, if they don't do that, I'm willing to do whatever you want. And if it's good, because you have to do it. I think that's what Jake and I had just like, you have to do it to try. You Scream, you can't keep doing 1, 4, and 5, which are the same movies generally. You
Pretty
can't keep
much.
doing them forever. You have
Exactly.
to, and 2 and 3, I don't really love 3 all that I think 3 is good, but it's, in my opinion, it's easily the weakest. But it's definitely the most different, I think.
I think it's Scream 3 is the most fun. I've
Oh
actually
yeah,
over time, I used to shit on Scream 3 like a lot of people do, but I
yeah.
actually kind of like just putting it on in the background. It's kind of like a more
Okay.
PG version of Scream, like a Scooby Doo-ish version of Scream.
Yeah,
And I obviously for different reasons, it came out during the Columbine shooting, and a lot of studios were kind of weary about that, and they had to change some stuff up with Scream 3. But
yeah,
I like Scream 3 a lot. I think it's fun. I think
yeah,
it gets crapped on a lot. It definitely goes really meta in some
yeah,
areas, but I
yeah.
like Scream 3 a lot. So it's definitely different from the other ones. But you're right. Scream 1, 4, and
And that's
5
how
are
you get them.
mm,
That's how you get 2 and 3 is you have to branch out, and you're gonna
yes.
make some mistakes. You're gonna kill Randy when you probably shouldn't have. You're
But
gonna.
That's ballsy though. I like
Yeah.
that. That
Oh yeah,
that
yeah.
was huge. I think that's what with after Scream 2, they were kind of scared to kill off any main characters because a lot of people hated Wes
Yeah.
Craven for killing Randy. Like I remember watching an interview with him, he was getting like death notes and like
Oh man.
why'd you kill Randy and stuff like that. So maybe he was a little bit scared to kill any main characters after that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's when you get the most experimental version is when you do take the risk killing Randy, or I didn't like it, but you experiment with technology with the box that can be anybody's voice. I
Yeah,
hated that. I
that was a
hated
little
that,
too
but I mean,
far.
they tap into what's new at the time or what they think would work, and
Right.
so again, you at least tried it. Scream 2 and 3 are not one, and then I like 4. I think 4 is my second favorite,
Okay.
and 4 is very closely related to 1, right? But in order to keep this going, if you want a 6, you want a 7, you're gonna have to change some stuff up. 3 killers, 1 killer, 1 dies in the middle. I don't know. Sam
Yeah.
is the killer. I
A
mean, you can do
cult of
so much.
Ghostface or something,
Cult. Oh
something
my god.
a whole frat party's
Yep.
Ghostface.
Yep. So, well, we'll end it there. But I want to again remind you guys to make sure you guys are subscribed to Zoe. I'm going to leave his Twitter as well if you want to follow him on Twitter.
Thank you.
So that'll be in the description if you guys want to check it out. Thank you again, buddy, so much for being here and just talking.
Yeah, of course, Alex, dude. I love your channel. I used to watch. I still watch you and Degenerate Jay a lot. So you guys are awesome, man. I love you guys' content.
Well, I'm talking to him tomorrow. Actually, that's
Yeah,
funny. All
he's
right.
good
Well,
people.
thank you so much, man. And I remember you reached out to me, I think, and told me about the channel, and I've always appreciated it. You've been
Yeah,
extremely nice. We've never made it, because you've been on Craven's stuff, and
right.
we've been on the same live stream but different times, so we've literally never overlapped.
Hey,
But I'm
well,
very glad
finally
we
we got
got
the
this to
chance,
happen,
man.
and we'll circle back and we'll do some more stuff as we get closer. So
All
thank
right.
you again to Zoe. Guys, check him out in the comments. His stuff is going to be linked there. Make sure you guys are subscribed here, obviously, and we'll see you all on the next video.